So, hello everyone. Thank you very much for having us here. I am Kristi Progri and she's my colleague Jona Azizaj. I'm an Open Labs member, which we'll talk more in the other slides. I'm the co-organizer for OSCAL, Mozilla Rep, a Mozilla Tech Speaker, the co-founder for the Open Diversity, part of the Diversity and Inclusion team in Mozilla, and also been working at Free Software Foundation Europe.
Can you hear me? I think so, right? Okay, I can use the microphone. So my name is Jona. Together with Kristi, we are part of Open Labs. Sorry. Okay. Still? Can you hear me now? Or? No. Okay. Never mind. Okay, so as I was saying, we are part of a local hackerspace in Albania that is called Open Labs, where we promote different open source projects. And also we have a conference similar to this one that is called OSCAL, that it's next month. Together with Kristi, as I said, being part of Open Labs, we have been part of different open source communities. That's why one of the communities that I joined first was Fedora, that it's a Linux distribution. And I became the first Fedora ambassador in Albania. Later on, when I joined the community, one of the teams that I'm really working a lot lately is the diversity and inclusion team. Together with Kristi, we have the open diversity that we will explain even later what it is and what we are doing. The document foundation member, so promoting LibreOffice, especially in Albania. The Nextcloud contributor. I don't know if you are familiar with Nextcloud. Anyone that knows it? Okay, super. So it's similar with Google Drive or Dropbox, but it's an open source solution. And also Rails Summer of Code alumni. Last year I was part of it, and also about this one I will explain later what it is.
Okay, so Open Labs Hackerspace, it's actually the only hackerspace that it's operating currently in Albania. It's located in Tirana and it is founded around five to 6 years ago. The main goal and the thing that we really promote in the hackerspace, it's all the free and software programs and open source projects. So before starting and talking about the community, what we really think that it's important is to know the historical background of the country where we want to implement a community. So is there anyone in the audience who knows this guy? Okay, can you tell us? Yes. So he has been our Albanian dictator for around 50 years, from 1945 till 1990. So since we were in the communism for a long period, let's say, it was so hard and so difficult to first open up people and to become and join in the communities. And after the dictatorship fell, they said that we have the democracy now, and our whole society changed, as you know, in a lot of aspects. So in the beginning, when we first became part of the Open Labs hackerspace, we really wanted to get a lot of people in the community and make everyone to join us, but it was really, really so hard to just let everyone know and just to join, because we had this thought, even from our universities and from our school, that working for free or taking part in a community or in a job that is not paid, it's not a good thing. This is like one of the traumas that we really, really had. And what happened is that from the extreme working, community working, went to the extreme individualism, where people didn't really want to work with anyone, but they just wanted to start their own jobs or their own campaigns, so they don't really had to work with the others. And we thought that the best way to get all of these and to create a new, different, mindset for all the communities was better to start a free software project or a hackerspace, so we can get anyone in the board and explain more of what we do. As I mentioned before, the Open Labs hackerspace is 100% pure decentralized. Decision-making process followed. More than 60% of the participants are women, and more of 90% of the members are 24 years old, which means that there are more students coming in the hackerspace, and this is like more usually like the age of the people coming. Like we have less people that are above than 30s. One of the most inclusive and probably the most active mailing list in Albania. We're not very familiar with the mailing list, so we're proud to have now this title. And more than 200 activities of small, medium, and large participation related to flows, culture, and projects. So we try to make a very rich, let's say, agenda, and to make everyone feel comfortable with their own, where do they feel better in their own projects. Both from our experience, we have spotted out and wrote down some points that we think that are really important when we first want to build the community. What is really important is the physical space. Through hackerspace meetups and events, it is really very nice to get everyone to work together, and and we both think that it's very good when all these interactions happen when everyone is in the same room and working in the same environment. Regional cross-border collaboration, that rocks. Albania, and we have a lot of also collaboration with our hackerspaces around Balkans, like Kosovo hackerspaces in Greece and other countries, and we think that it's a very good way also to share knowledge and to share experiences with each other. So we try to be very careful with the paid staff and with volunteers, so we have decided not to pay anyone for the work, so we try just to get everyone as a volunteer, so we don't have later those conflicts that who gets more money and who doesn't, and who works more and who doesn't work more. If there is no gender balance, we don't think that that's actually a health community. So we try hard to get and to make our community as diverse as possible. So as I mentioned before, it's the only hackerspace I think that I know by far that the majority of the participants are women. Localizations and other projects, let's say, or other meetups that are not only technical oriented but are also from other fields. We think that it's a very also good way to get everyone on board and to come from different backgrounds, and not only those who are working in or who has finished the IT universities. We try to make good photos and good documentation so everyone knows very well what we do and how does our activities look like and what is really important in our work. And also we have some designers too, and they are doing a great job also with our logos and everything that we'll need for regarding the visuals. So as I mentioned, it really depends, those tips that I said, it really depends a lot on the background of the country where you come from. I took the example of Albania, which is a country that comes from communism, and I think that those tips also works for countries that had the same past, but some of them I think are like generalized and they can be implemented in most of the communities. And what we really try to do is to be nice to each other. It's hard sometimes, but we try a lot. And Jona, my colleague, would speak about the highlighting the diversity in the communities.
So as Kristi was talking about communities, that it's very important to have a community after the project that you are working on. But if we see the community, let's say, how is the diversity and inclusion part of it? So it's no longer a square one if we see the participation by women. And some statistics that I found is that women in open source In 2001, the number was 1.1%, and now in 2017, it's 3%. It's not increased a lot, but at least the numbers are higher now. If we see the Google Summer of Code, in 2011, it was 7.1%, and in 2017, it was 11.4%. So the number is even more increased. And also related to Python speakers or even the Linux kernel authors, that in 2005 was 5%, and now in 2016 was 9.9%. So what we are trying to break the stereotypes so that women does not belong to these communities or to technology, let's say. So why the disparity? Disparity actually refers not only, let's say, to technology, but refers to different fields like healthcare, let's say science, social, or finance, and etc. This is a very nice graphic that Marina, that is also part of Outreach, she's an organizer, and she did with even some statistics in the beginning. And so why the disparity? Because boys, they tend to do, let's say, mostly the coding part, break things, and etc. But girls, they are made to feel that they do not belong there. So it's the imposter syndrome here. And why it's very important to have, let's say, diversity and inclusion in your community, because in this way you have a healthy community, and those are the most successful ones. That's why we have different agents that they try to change this. So what does diversity and inclusion means for your community? So having, as I said, having more women contributors part of it, but not only, because when we talk about diversity and inclusion, it's not only about women. It's also to welcome and encourage participation by everyone. Not only, let's say, into coding part, but even for other fields like documentation, marketing, and other things that are not technical related. So having also an easily accessible software. So even for people, for example, that they cannot see or they cannot hear, the software will be accessible for them to use it. And also having a code of conduct is very, very important, because in this way people will feel more protected, will know that someone, let's say, will behave nice toward them. But if you don't enforce your code of conduct, then actually you don't have one. So it's very, very important not only having the code of conduct, but also know how to enforce it. So as I mentioned in the beginning, I'm part of the Fedora Diversity team. And this photo we took when we had Fedora Activity Day, and we have this kind of activities to gather all together and see the goals that we will have for this year, what will be, let's say, where or what things we will emphasize more. So the goals that our team has, so to help foster diversity and inclusion in our community, and trying to create more content or more events to spread the word about this. And also supporting the community building and etc., or the engagement between even different teams that we have. And coordinating, as I said, with the sub-projects that our team has, so the communication can be easier, and especially the technical team with the non-tech, we call it actually outreach team, can be better and, let's say, can try to be even more beneficial for our community. And of course, supporting programs that are committed to building diversity and inclusion in free and open source softwares. Like, for example, we participated, every year we participate in Outreach, and I'm very glad that this year we supported Rails Summer of Code. We are not participating in the program, but we are supporting them financially because they have the same goals as we have. And everyone that is interested to join, it's not that you really need to know everything about Fedora, because being part of the team, you will know more, and etc. You can join the weekly meeting that we have. So the communication channels that we use is the mailing list. As you know, every open source community's mailing list is very important. We use Pagure, that it's Git-based, so it's similar to GitHub and etc., where we have different tickets that you can try to see if you can help us, or you can even open a new one. And the weekly meetings that we have every Friday. One of the events that we did for the last 2 years, and we will still continue doing it, is Fedora Women Day. It's a day that we try to be thankful to the women that are part of our community, but not only Fedora, also to other open source communities, and try to help even other women get on board and see how they can get engaged in the community. We will do this even this year. Last year we did it during September. Different communities could organize it, and we had 10 events that were done in different countries. And this year we are still in the first steps trying to see how we can do it. So if someone is interested to organize it, one in your city, it would be very great. You can just get in touch with us and we can see more details how to do it.
Okay, so as Jona mentioned, Outreachy, I was an intern at the Outreachy, which is a program that it's only for underrepresented groups in free and open source software. And I've been working with Mozilla for the diversity and inclusion team. And like the main goal of the whole project and of the internship there was to get more people which were not familiar and which were not fluent English speaking people, but they had knowledge only on some specific language that are not as broad as English. So we tried to create an FAQ on how they can maintain their community and to make it more active. Also, we have tried to create a platform on where you can report all the incidents that are happening in the community and how to solve them with some solutions, and also you can reach out to the specific teams.
So another change agent that is similar with Outreachy is Rails Girl Summer of Code. That even the speaker that was before mentioned it. So Rails Girl Summer of Code is similar to Outreach, as I said, but it's only coding, and it's not only for Rails, but it's related to all the other languages. For example, during last summer, I was working on Nextcloud, so especially with JavaScript, and so the experience that all the participants will get, it's very nice and help them to, let's say, get even more engaged and be part of open source communities, understand why it's very important to, let's say, choose softwares that are open source and etc. And also, even this one is 3 months paid internship, but Outreach is 2 times in a year, and this one it's only once. So for this year, the application has ended, but and I think that this week they will announce even the teams. So another change agent, I will talk a bit fast now since we are near the end, are different Python communities. For example, we have the Django Girls or PyLadies, and they organize different amazing workshops that it's very easily for women that really want to code or join these communities. It's Grape Hopper Celebration, that it's a conference for all the women that want to be part of it. It's Women in Open Source Award. That it's an award that Red Hat gives to women, let's say, to thank them for the contributions that they are doing in open source. So the current trend is to build more broader diversity communities, because as I said, having diversity and inclusion in your community means that you have a healthier community and more successful one. So how is the situation like in our community in Albania? As Kristi mentioned, So we had Ada Lovelace Day. So I will mention some of the events that we do. Mozilla Weekend, Fedora Loves Python Meetup, Crypto Party, Linux Weekend, 48 Hours Hackathon, Mozilla Tech Speakers Training, OSCIL, the annual conference. Do you want? So I just want to mention that related to the events, it's not only having more women part of the community, but also having different kind of meetups, technical, non-technical ones, so everyone can feel welcome and do whatever contribution that they feel more they want to do.
Okay, so together with Jona, we thought to create the Open Diversity, which we thought would be like a program that it will be like the umbrella for all the free software projects and programs. So they're all groups regarding the diversity and inclusion can come up with the same voice and with the same program, so they can speak even louder towards the problem and they can work in the collaboration together. So the Open Diversity, we think that, for example, the diversity or the inclusion group in Mozilla with Fedora, with Wikimedia, Debian, and also other programs, they can come up with in the same platform, and we can all collaborate even more and exchange experience, and also create together also other events, and the collaboration will be all like even closer.
And if you have another initiative that you want to add at our website, you can see our we have our website on GitLab, so you can just open a pull request or an issue to comment there the initiative that you want to add. Mm-hmm. And thank you for listening and for being here. We don't have time for questions, I think. Okay. So we have time for questions.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to thank the girls for this inspiring speech. And we can... And of course, if anyone has any questions for the girls, feel free to ask them. Anyone?
Hello. I wanted to ask you about the finances. You kind of touched the subject that you do not pay anybody, and I think that's a good move, actually. But in general, was it a challenge for you to build the community while knowing that you're not supposed to make money off it? And how do you find the money anyway, you need some operational costs?
Okay, so for 5 years, I've been the chairwoman for the hackerspace, and because we didn't have enough money, I haven't get any paid for like 5 years. So I think that this is the best, and from our experience, this is the best way to keep a community without conflict, because every time that there is money in the middle, always something will come up and will try, to ruin the party and to make things to work very, very hard. So I think that making this clear since the beginning, that people that are working kind of here and volunteering for this, it will be only free. This is a very good way, and you have transparency, and it's clarified since the beginning. So everyone who wants to join and to collaborate with us is more than welcome. But we cannot more offer anything beside the knowledge and beside our experience regarding the free software. But also it has a lot to do also with the money, with the sponsorships, and with everything. It's so hard to maintain the community, with the money, especially in our home countries, but we try to keep it up. Thank you.
Any more questions, perhaps? Okay. I'd like to ask a question. How many other communities with goals similar to yours already exist in your country and in the whole region?
Okay, so let's say that have the similar goal with us to promote open source softwares?
Yes.
None. So we are the only hackerspace that promotes free and open source softwares.
Yeah, so how did you find the inspiration and motivation for starting such a community? The idea.
Since we really believe, let's say, why it's very important to have FLOSS and open source softwares in general, that's why we really wanted to keep the same spirit, let's say, and even educate the others in our country to see why it's so important. That's why, for example, we implemented and helped the municipality of Tirana to install Nextcloud, and they are really happy with it. And let's say even the mediatization that they will do will help even more other people to understand what we are doing. And now because it's let's say easier when they will spread the word about it than us, because it's not that it's, let's say, easier because people will not believe them more, but you know they have more authority, and that's why. But especially, let's say, with students, helping them even to find another way what to do in their free time, or to get more experience, because especially for students, it's very, let's say, important for them to get more experience. Especially when they will finish university to find a job, they will need experience. That's every time what companies will say to them. Okay, we have let's say, an option for them what to do. That's why, for example, volunteering was very nice even for them, and especially now, after some years, we understand why, the real reason, because the experience that you will get, it's more important than the money.
Yes, of course. We have some time left. Any more questions?
Okay. Did you have contacts with some communities which are, let's say, less business, more activism, like Miss Balthazar Laboratory in Vienna, like Gender Changers, Eclectic Tech, Carnivon? There are more.
Sorry, can you please repeat the question, because I couldn't...
There are also hack labs, makerspaces, which are, to say, in area of feminism and more activism. Did you have contacts with them?
Yes, so we try to make our community like for both parts, even activism, but even like more hands-on regarding the problems. But we think that in this stage, for building up the community, it's really important to have the activism part very developed, so they can get more information. Like, for example, in Albania, having the free software was a very new thing, and there are a lot of people that do not even understand what it is. So in this moment, it was really important to first explain what it's about, and then to implement it there, to go in the further step where you can do the hands-on activities, or you can do more specific events, like more technical.
Okay. Thank you. More questions? If not, I'd like to thank once again the girls for the speech.
Thank you.